What is the best time to charge electric vehicles? Hey everyone, and welcome to the automotive class. Today we're going to be talking about the best time to charge your electric vehicle. As you know, electric vehicles are becoming increasingly popular. They're a great way to reduce your carbon footprint and save money on fuel. But there are a few things you need to know about charging your EV, especially when it comes to the time of day. The most convenient time to charge electric vehicles might vary depending on some variables, including power prices, grid demand, and personal convenience. To save money and ease the burden on the power system, the best charging times frequently take advantage of off-peak electricity periods. Furthermore, a more sustainable and environmentally friendly charging process can be achieved by charging at times when renewable energy is produced. With these things in mind, choosing the ideal EV charging period requires balancing financial efficiency, grid load management, and personal requirements. Electric vehicle charging times are largely dependent on electricity prices and system usage, as it takes advantage of cheaper electricity costs and helps balance the grid load. Charging during off-peak hours, typically at night, is frequently advised. Time-of-use programs are widely available from utility providers. And they encourage charging during these off-peak times. Additionally, charging during times of strong renewable energy production such as during the day when solar power is abundant, can help make the charging process greener. The best time to charge an electric vehicle is ultimately a decision made by the individual depending on variables like power prices, grid demand, and personal convenience. Why does the time of day matter? Due to some factors, the time of day affects when charging electric vehicles. Electricity demand. The electrical system is put under more stress during peak hours when there is a significant electricity demand. Charging an EV at these times might increase grid demand, which may result in increased electricity prices or even grid instability. By charging during off-peak hours, you may help the system by more equally distributing the electricity demand. Electricity rates. A lot of utilities provide time-of-use programs, in which the cost of electricity varies depending on the hour of the day. In comparison to peak hours, off-peak hours frequently have reduced rates, because the electricity used to charge an EV is invoiced at a cheaper rate during these off-peak hours. It may be more affordable to do so. Integration of renewable energy. Charging an EV during times of high renewable energy production is advantageous for advancing sustainability. The energy output of renewable sources like sun and wind often varies throughout the day. EV owners can optimize the use of clean energy while lowering their carbon footprint by charging their vehicles during periods of strong renewable energy production. Grid load balancing. Grid load balancing is achieved by charging electric vehicles at off-peak times. By distributing the demand for charging, the grid can operate more dependably and effectively, lowering the possibility of brownouts or blackouts. With these things in mind, picking the proper time of day to charge an electric car can result in financial savings, environmental advantages, and improved grid management. What are peak and off-peak hours? Peak on and off-peak hours relate to specific times of the day when the demand for and usage of particular services or resources varies. The idea is frequently applied in a variety of fields, including telecommunications, transportation, and even pricing schemes. Let's delve deeper into these concepts. Peak hours. The times of the day when there is the greatest demand or activity are often referred to as peak hours. Resources are typically under more stress at these periods, and costs and congestion for services are possible. Depending on the particular situation, peak hours may not always occur at the same time. For instance, transportation. Peak hours in the context of transportation typically occur during periods of heavy commuter traffic, such as during morning and evening rush hours. Electricity. Peak electricity hours frequently coincide with the times of day when daily energy use is highest, such as early evenings when people return home and simultaneously use appliances. Telecommunications. Peak hours in the context of telecommunications can refer to times of the day or early evening when the number of calls or internet users is at its maximum. Off-peak hours. On the other hand, off-peak hours are times when demand or activity is lower than during peak hours. These periods typically encounter less congestion and could provide benefits like lower costs or greater availability. Several instances include transportation. When it comes to public transit, off-peak hours are generally when fewer people are traveling, as during the middle of the day or in the late hours of the night. A less crowded train or bus may be available during these times. Electricity. When the general energy demand is reduced, late at night or early in the morning are frequently off-peak hours for electricity. Several utility companies offer special prices to encourage energy use outside of peak hours during these times. Telecommunications. In the context of telecommunications, off-peak hours generally relate to periods when the number of calls or internet users is reduced, usually in the late night or early morning. Planning, managing resources, and improving service delivery all require an understanding of peak and off-peak hours. It enables service providers to more effectively allocate resources and create pricing or scheduling plans that fit the trends in client demand. Is it advisable to charge your electric vehicle off-peak? Yes, charging your electric vehicle off-peak is generally a good idea. Off-peak charging has several benefits, including cost savings, grid stability, environmental advantages, and convenience. Off-peak hours are when many electricity providers charge less, enabling EV owners to benefit from the lower rates and cut their overall charging expenses. You may assist in more equally distributing the electricity demand and lessen the load on the grid during peak hours by charging off-peak. Additionally, off-peak times frequently coincide with times when more renewable energy is produced, allowing EV users to rely more on clean energy sources and cut down on the carbon emissions related to charging. Finally, charging during off-peak hours is more convenient because there is often less demand for charging stations, making the process more seamless. In general, charging your EV at off-peak times is advised since it has favorable financial, environmental, and practical effects. During on-peak hours, when should I charge? It is generally not advised to charge your electric vehicle during on-peak hours, due to the possibility of higher electricity prices and increased load on the electrical system. There are a few things to keep in mind, though, if charging during on-peak times is required. To learn more about the precise on-peak times in your location, first speak with your electricity provider. To avoid paying higher rates, try to plan your charging to occur before or after the on-peak period, or outside of the peak window. Additionally, think about adopting smart charging options, or programs that let you automatically schedule your charging sessions at off-peak times. By doing this, you can guarantee that your EV is charged at cheaper rates and lessen the load on the grid during high usage times. To balance the demand on the grid, it's crucial to be careful of your energy consumption and aim to limit other electrical usage during on-peak hours if charging during these times cannot be prevented. Finally, considering peak and off-peak hours when charging your electric vehicle might have several advantages. It's often a good idea to charge off-peak hours to take advantage of lower electricity costs, support the use of clean energy, contribute to grid stability, and enjoy more convenience with less competition for charging stations. Off-peak charging is consistent with budget-friendly practices, environmental concerns, and effective energy management. It is advised to arrange charging sessions outside of the peak window wherever possible. Use smart charging solutions and be conscious of minimizing additional energy use during those times if charging during on-peak hours is unavoidable. You may optimize the benefits of EV ownership while helping to create a more sustainable and effective energy system by comprehending and optimizing your charging habits based on peak and off-peak hours. So there you have it. The best time to charge your electric vehicle is during off-peak hours. This will save you money on your electricity bill and help to reduce the strain on the power grid. Thanks for watching.